This sexy woman had Parkinson's at 26. Her angelic looks combined with her sickly body made her the object of numerous men's courtship. But the men always dumped her after a short time and a few flings with her. One day Maggie rushed to the hospital to buy medicine and asked the doctor to check her chest. She had what appeared to be a strange lump on the left half of her chest. When she took off her coat, Jamie next to her kept staring at her chest. The doctor took a closer look and said that the lump on her chest was a spider bite. It was nothing to worry about. By this time, Jamie's eyes had turned blue. Maggie also notices his obsessive gaze. Jamie is sorting out the trunk of the car, but Maggie knocked him down with her back on the grounds that he had just peeked at her breasts. But Jamie is not only handsome, he has a high EQ and is very good with women. Jamie is a gold medal salesman who is popular with everyone. 60-year-old grandmothers and 8-year-old girls are all obsessed with him. The boss's wife couldn't escape his charm and made out with him. Unfortunately, the boss saw them making love. After Jamie was fired from his job, then he was introduced to sell pills. Jamie used his ability to talk to get people to buy the product. Once his goal was achieved, he took off the hook and retreated. He also met Maggie when he was selling new drugs. In an instant, the libidinous playboy is attracted to the stubborn and unruly female patient. Jamie learned Maggie's phone number by seducing the female nurse. The rest of the story goes too smoothly. Even more than Jamie's imagination, Maggie was smiling like a little fool on the phone. She immediately asked Jamie to meet her at the cafe. Jamie noticed her trembling hands and analyzed her personality. Maggie was touched. 3 minutes later, Maggie took Jamie home and continued to make out. After that, whether Jamie was in a meeting or out on business, Maggie would call him and he would come over and have sex with her every time. Even at 2:30 in the morning, Maggie would suddenly appear. The two of them stayed up all night. Jamie was almost exhausted. At the same time, their relationship was heating up quickly. Jamie was even thinking about going out with Maggie officially, but the idea startled Maggie. The pain of her illness brought her back to reality. That's in our relationship. We agreed not to fall for each other. Jamie also pretended to be relaxed and said goodbye. Jamie spent the rest of his life focusing on his career, but he had been hit by a competitor and was depressed. The women outside were no longer attracted to him. Distracted, Jamie thought of Maggie. He doesn't hesitate to call her and says he really likes Maggie's voice. But the intensity of his affection was too much for Maggie to handle. The next day, Maggie is preparing to leave for Canada. Jamie suddenly came after her and asked when she would be back. Maggie said, "I'll be back late." By the end of the night, Jamie arrived at the station early and waited for Maggie. He waited for her in the car all night. When Maggie saw the tired Jamie, her heart melted. She didn't expect that Jamie was taking this relationship seriously. Maggie finally agreed to go out with Jamie officially, and then a new pill was launched that shocked the world. This was the highlight of Jamie's life. A little blue pill for men that made people crazy. The presidential candidate endorsed it himself because it was the first medicine for male diseases in Western history. So once the product was promoted, it quickly took the country by storm and even sold out. The drug was developed by Jamie's pharmaceutical company. Even doctors had to ask for help to get the product from Jamie. A quiet night was brought to a boil by this pill. Jamie was so happy because the profit of this drug in just 1 month is more than his income in the past year. But Jamie always left them in time and went home on time every day, no matter how busy he was at work and no matter how beautiful the beauty was, because he has a girlfriend waiting for him at home. Maggie spends the night with Jamie intimately and admires his ability. But then Jamie is suddenly depressed because his mom just called. Instead of feeling proud of Jamie, they feel ashamed. But Maggie tells him, "You're not as bad as you think you are. You have a lot of good qualities." Jamie, who had low self-esteem, looked at Maggie's sincere eyes and felt once again they are no longer physical partners. They are spiritual lovers. Maggie was not feeling well on the bus, so Jamie bought a sports car to take her for a ride. Jamie likes to record their lives with his camera. Maggie is the best heroine on his camera. "I love all the things you love. You are always there when I need you. That's probably the best kind of love." Jamie was about to confess his love to Maggie, but then his heart suddenly started racing and he couldn't breathe. Maggie thought he was having a heart attack. Jamie took a long time to breathe before he could officially say to Maggie, "I love you." Jamie had never said, "I love you" before. He had never even said it to his parents. brother or a stray dog. Those 3 words were stronger than any vow right now. Only, he forgot that Maggie had a severe case of Parkinson's. When she gets sick, Maggie loses her gentleness. She couldn't crop photos. She couldn't open bottles. She stayed in bed all day and wouldn't get up. Maggie was depressed to the core. Maggie said that Jamie stayed with her out of compassion for her illness. Jamie suddenly couldn't stand this hysterical woman and turned away. Maggie was devastated. Parkinson seemed to have robbed her of the ability to love someone. She was abandoned countless times by others. Jamie hugged Maggie tightly. He decided to stay by her side. The next day, they went to the Parkinson's Club. A group of people were having fun on stage. Maggie smiled and started to tear up, and Jamie learned the harsh truth from a patient's family. This old man was a veteran family member of a Parkinson's patient. He had cared for his wife for 25 years while she was ill. Jamie smiled and asked him if he could give some advice. Instead, the old man said to stay away from Maggie, who had Parkinson's. The disease will gradually take away her healthy thinking smile. You end up with a woman who is uncontrollable and cold. On the way home, Maggie was so excited. She attended her first patient's meeting. Maggie was inspired by their positive attitude towards life, but Jamie was feeling heavy. He secretly looked up the symptoms of Parkinson's, but the more he learned, the worse he looked. His faith began to waver. After that, Jamie took Maggie everywhere to seek medical help. They traveled to every hospital in the world and tried every cutting-edge treatment available, but the results always disappointed them. Gradually, they communicated less and less with each other, fewer smiles, and the money got smaller and smaller. Credit cards were maxed out. The doctor refused to give them any more meaningless diagnosis. Maggie looked at the hysterical Jamie. She understood that this man was already being tracked down by her. She decided to give up on the relationship. Jamie urged Maggie to pull herself together. He was so desperate, as if he was the one who was sick. Maggie says Parkinson's is not her whole life. She's learned to accept it and try to move on. They were separated after all. When Jamie removed her bags from Maggie's room, we all know what that's like. Jamie returned to his life of playboy debauchery. Maggie seems to have started a new life. But fate is a wonderful thing. Jamie opens a door at random. It's Maggie's new boyfriend's bar. It's a little awkward for both of them to see each other again. Jamie tells Maggie that he's been promoted. He's moving to Chicago soon. This is probably the last time they'll see each other. When Jamie was packing, she found a videotape of them. The tapes contained their vows and countless moments. Jamie couldn't bear the thought of losing her. He couldn't miss such a perfect woman. Jamie drove his sports car onto the highway. He managed to stop the bus at the toll booth. This time he was adamant that he needed Maggie. Jamie passed up the opportunity to go to Chicago. He stayed here to pursue his doctorate in medical school. Love is a very nebulous thing. I can't say whether I love you or not, but I need you to make the most wonderful memories in my life and in my life.